Oh, hello. Welcome in right here to Fantasy Life. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam, Ronis with you for the next couple of hours, breaking down. No, actually, Adam, we're talking about the Seahawks game all day. Is that okay? Next 2 hours. Everyone actually just stop what you're doing and give me a go Hawks. Because, Adam, what did we see last night? The lucky lasagna worked. I stayed up the whole time. I'm living life right now. Nothing can bring me down. How you doing?
Doing well. We do not believe you that you stayed up
What?
late
I was
because
tweeting at people to show them that I was awake. Come on.
okay, I did get some
Listen,
questions
the
about
lasagna
that.
was heavy. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
That was a heavy meal. But now I have to make it for at least I'll say that maybe the playoffs. Maybe the playoffs I have to make it again. What a game, Adam. Oh my God. Just I wrote that team off a couple of times in that game. I was shaking my head. I said, here we go. They're gonna lose this game. Maybe Sam Darnold, especially after that second interception. You're just sitting there. You're like, well, 16-point deficit. There's no way they can come back from this, right? They entered the game 0-172 in team history when trailing by at least 15 points in the fourth quarter, and now 1-172. It was incredible. Stafford looked great. I think he cemented his MVP case right there in that game. But overall, a classic and just probably the best game of the year. I'm biased though.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of people would agree. Stafford, I just checked on DraftKings, moved to minus 225 to an
Yep,
MVP.
that
Drake
makes
Mays
sense.
second at plus 300. I don't know how the Seahawks won this game. If you look at the box score and recall everything they did, it's like, how did they lose this? Because the Seahawks had 3 turnovers. The Rams had 0. The Rams ran 88 plays to 63 for Seattle. The Rams put up 581 yards without a turnover
Yep.
and lost this game. Seahawks had 415. Not only that, Stafford did not get sacked. So you have an offense that put up 581 yards. The quarterback didn't get sacked. They didn't turn it over. They lose 38-37. So the Seahawks needed a couple breaks to go their way. I thought the biggest play of the game was the Rashee Shaheed return for a touchdown.
I agree.
Because that, if they didn't get that, I don't know if they come back.
No.
And then the wild 2-point conversion that is the craziest thing I've ever seen, where it was not ruled a forward pass, and then Charbonnet just happened to pick it up in the end zone. Which again, I didn't see any comments from him. Did anyone ask him about that?
I did not see, to be totally honest. I was watching the McVay presser.
Yeah,
And I was
of
watching
course.
and I was watching Sam. So I did not see. I just remember they panned the camera over to the bench and I think someone told him and he was like, "Okay, nice." Listen, that play was crazy. And like there were so many, to me, Adam, like you said, there were so many moments where it really turned 16-point deficit. Hand up. At some point I just thought, well, this stinks. Like they're not on the path to get the 1 seed anymore. I kind of have to write this one off because Sam Darnold, we've talked about it before. Those bright lights, when you saw 2 turnovers, I really was starting to think, he's just going to do this again, and it's going to be awful. But he was actually, the one thing with him is that he's led to a lot of good for the Vikings and the Seahawks. It's led to some wins there, but you've seen him fail to maintain a high level of play in the biggest moments of the season, and so for him to be able to turn it around, it's not all, it's on him and it's on a lot of other players, but to have that drive in overtime and then get 2-point conversions as well was huge. But yeah, I agree. The Rashee Shaheed return was big, and that play. They're going to be replaying that for the backwards pass, picked it up in the end zone. I think I saw JJ Watt maybe tweeted. He was like, "This is why we always pick up everything. No matter if we've heard the whistle or not, you pick up the ball because you just never know." And I think that was one of those plays yesterday that coaches and players alike are going to be looking at and saying, "Yeah, this is why we have to do that." It was insane. Sean McVay did not like that one. I'll say that.
Yeah, so you said they'll be replaying that. They will until January when Darnold throws 3 picks again.
Hey, whoa, tone it down. What's your problem?
I even asked you, do you still believe that Darnold now has just overcome everything and he'll be fine in January?
I will say, I do think this was a big win for him to overcome, right? I don't think this is one that's going to turn everything and now he's going to play at an MVP level the rest of the way. But I do think it was nice to probably get over this hump, right? Two turnovers, and he probably could have just turned into himself, right? And become that guy that was getting 4 interceptions the last time that these two teams played. So that's why I said I think in the biggest moments of the season, he was able to step up in this one. And I know that he didn't play incredibly well, especially when you're looking at stats from Matthew Stafford, but it was truly a phenomenal game. And we can go fantasy breakdowns here. My goodness, Puka Nacua. Adam, this is another one where we start the week and we say we just want fantasy points. That's all we want. Hopefully you are the ones playing Puka Nacua, not the ones facing Puka Nacua, because it might be a long weekend. And he gave us his best Kyle Pitts impression from week 15, came away with 46.5 fantasy points in this game, 12 receptions off 16 targets, 225 yards and 2 touchdowns. My goodness. Like I said, I hope everyone listening is playing Puka Nacua and not facing him, because that was an incredible performance from him.
Yeah, I have Puka in 2 leagues, so
there we go.
it's a great start.
I'm feeling great. I'm telling you, Adam, no one can bring us down today. We're great.
Well, he should have had a 3rd touchdown.
Okay.
Stafford missed him wide open. But yeah, and I will say this. I said this last week on Friday morning. If you are facing Puka Nacua, it is not over. Said the same thing about Kyle Pitts last week, and there were some people that did win after facing Kyle Pitts. So, yes, it sucks. You're staring up at a 46 in PPR formats, and maybe some leagues a little bit more if they offer a bonus. It's still one player. Even me, like, I don't think it's over where I have them. So,
Oh, I agree.
Guys can get injured on the on your team. You can get a 0, the Puka team. So it is not over. Yes, it's a big deficit, and usually you're staring at it all weekend, and you're going to be like, it's over. I mean, you do have 2 games on Saturday, so that deficit can be trimmed, but it is not over. Yes, you feel good if you have Puka, but I've seen it before. You can get that big performance and still lose.
We had it last week. People were sending us screenshots.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can get your opponent can get 0s in some places. Some people could just not show up to these games. I've got one. I'm in that. I've told you about that stacked league all year. That Ben, you guys can go read about it over on Reddit over there. But the opponent, the guy I'm playing, said it's over. Kendall won. I said, because I had Puka. I said no. I've got Drake London and T Higgins in my lineup right now just to manifest them coming back. If they're out, I'm going to have to go way down my roster to start some receivers that I just don't want to start. So you've said it. You don't give up, even if you're staring down 46.5, which is just daunting to say the least. Crazier things have happened, and we saw it last week. Matthew Stafford, like I said, put up he solidified, and you told us the odds, solidified that MVP. You got 30.8, and I'm looking at ESPN scoring, so it might be a little bit different across those different leagues, but 30.8. Kenneth Walker, I know not the most fun to watch because they just continue to give things to Zach Charbonnet over there, but he still got you 25. Even if you played Charbs, you got 17.4. This was a high scoring affair, of course, for everyone except the tight end that I had to stream, and it was gonna be fine. Colby Parkinson, 4.1 fantasy points, but it was a high scoring affair.
Okay, so 2 things on that. One with Kenneth Walker. Okay. You cannot have regrets if you sat him. We have seen this way too many times this year. In fact, we saw it early in the game. Walker has that long reception. They take him out. Charbonnet scores. He had 14 touches. Okay, if I would have told you before the game Kenneth Walker is going to get 14 touches, you probably would have been like, I'm not playing him. I can't deal with this. Mm-hmm. So there were people who benched Kenneth Walker, and you cannot blame yourself for that. This is only the 2nd time this year he rushed for 100 yards, and it was only 11 carries. The 55-yard touchdown run was his longest run of the year by far. His previous high was 31. And the 64 receiving yards were by far a season high. And it's not like he had 8 targets in the game. He had 3. So this is the same thing that we've been seeing all season long. He just happened to break a couple of plays, big plays, that we've been waiting for all season. And then with Colby Parkinson, Stafford put the ball in the air 49 times. If I would have told you that before the game, you're like, oh, yeah, I'm starting him. He had a couple drops, and
brutal drops.
He was a tight end 1 in 5 of the last 6 games. You take away Devontae Adams, sometimes these things don't work out. But I don't think it was a bad play. I just don't. You had to move him up this week, and he just didn't get it done. But if you look at the scenario that they were in, it was a good spot for him. It
Oh,
just
for
didn't
sure.
work
I
out.
agree. Yeah.
So, like, it's two scenarios where I think you made the right decision where it didn't work out. And I know people don't want to hear that in the semifinals, but it's just the absolute truth.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Kenneth Walker, I mean, we can look back at what he's given us so far this season. I mean, this is a season high in fantasy points. And you're telling me that that was going to come against the Rams in this huge game on Thursday night. I wouldn't have believed you. I think we had a couple questions on Walker, and just depending on who else you had on your bench, you were probably rolling him out there, but I agree with you on both of those points. And it's just one of those things where you're not necessarily shooting for upside in the fantasy playoffs. You're really shooting for the guys that are going to get you fantasy points here. So, regardless, though, it really was a high scoring affair last night, and it was fun to watch. I will say Jackson Smith and Jigba. If you were watching him at the beginning, Adam, everyone was probably sweating.
Yeah, 0 at half.
They said this can't be how I go down. Guillotine leagues, fantasy leagues. They're like, we can't do this in the semifinals. But he came back together. Of course, he had eight receptions. Yeah, 96 yards, one touchdown there off the 13 targets. Well, they got I figured they needed to get him going a little bit earlier. But 23.6 fantasy points from him as well. It was a good, it was,
Also, I
yeah.
want to say something.
Yeah,
I can't believe how many people wanted to bench Stafford yesterday. The questions that I
We got
got,
a lot of questions.
look, and there might have been some scenarios where, like, if it's another top quarterback, but people were asking, like, oh, Stafford, Lawrence, or Stroud. Like, really? Like, what are we doing here? I know it's a tough matchup against Seattle, but I know there's a lot of people that put Stafford on the bench. And yes, you could have lowered him in your rankings this week. I mean, he's been like top 3, top 4 every week. You want to lower him, fine. But, like, even someone said, they followed up. They're like, are you sure with the weather? And that's another thing, too. People have overreacted to weather all season long. We spend so much time on it all day, people talking about the wins and what happened by game time. You've got to wait it out. You've got to be patient. Who cares what the weather forecast says 24 hours? Wherever you live, we know the weather changes constantly. There's times that there's no rain in the forecast and then it rains. Trust me, I know. It happens all the time. So you just need to be patient. People looking at weather 3 days before, even 24 hours before. You just got to wait. And what happened? The weather was not a factor at all.
Nope. No, that's why we say you got to wait. I know and that's why it's so hard. And I understand it. The Seahawks defense, you say, you got to, Matthew Stafford. I don't know if I want to play him, and that's why I said, Adam, I lowered him in my rankings. I put him at 10. And I just said, you know what? I've got 9 other quarterbacks that I think I'd be more comfortable with, going out there because of either the matchups or what we've seen in the last couple weeks. But yeah, Matthew said the Seahawks defense, honestly, did not put up the performance that I thought they would. I mean, on the ground, Kyren Williams to start the game. That's all we were seeing was just Kyren Williams, and they were going to keep going back to him because it was working so well. And I just did not think that it should have been working as well as we saw. He had 23 carries in this game. 70 yards, 11.5 fantasy points. So didn't come away with a huge game, but it was one of those things at the beginning, Adam, where I was like, wow, where did this defense go? They had key injuries as the game continued on. So they're going to have to really work on that and see, where some of those defensive players are down the stretch. But yeah, Matthew Stafford has had a phenomenal season, so an MVP level season this year, and we saw it bright on the bright lights on Thursday. I mean, 29 of 49, 457 yards, 3 touchdowns, and like you said, no interceptions, didn't get sacked. It was a great performance from him. 30 fantasy points.
And the crazy part is this season came out of nowhere. No one predicted this. There's no way. Like, anyone who drafted Stafford like in a super flex league, you got lucky. You really did.
If anything, people were writing him off. I mean, I wasn't writing him off, but I was saying I don't want to draft him because of the back injury, that they were talking about this offseason. It was that his back is really messed up. It's going to be with him for the whole season, all that stuff. He said, no, what back injury? He said, I'm not old. I can still go out here and do this. I mean, yeah, maybe a couple people predicted it because they love the Rams and because they love the Rams and Matthew Stafford. Maybe a homer pick.
He's got 40 touchdowns. 40 touchdowns. Yeah. Look at the last 3 years. He had 10 touchdowns in 9 games in 2022. 24 touchdowns in 2023, 20 last year in 16 games. He's doubled that already with 40 when he was dealing with a back injury in the preseason, and he's 37 years old. This came out of nowhere. We know Stafford's good, but he hasn't been a fantasy relevant quarterback since 2021.
Yeah. Yeah. If he doesn't retire, where do we draft him next year?
Uh,
Realistically. I mean, after this, what do you say regression's coming and he can't do 40 touchdowns again or even close? He's going to get us 2025 or what do you think?
isn't this like Baker Mayfield repeated? We went through this with Baker
Maybe it's the
Mayfield.
Devontae Adams effect. Maybe he just needed Devontae Adams in his life.
Yeah, I mean that
to get him up
helps.
there.
But you know what his touchdown percentage is right now?
Tell me.
7.7%. It was 3.9 last year. His career mark is 4.8.
Let me look that up.
What was who?
7.7. I'm looking up what Baker Mayfield's was last year.
It was, I think, 5.9, if I'm not mistaken, off the top of my head.
Look.
Let's see.
I've got it right here.
7.2.
7.2.
No, was it 7? Oh, wow. Yeah.
For Baker, 7.2. He had a career average of 5.
Yeah.
5.
So, and where's he at now? 4.9.
Mm-hmm.
And he's at 22 touchdowns. So, like, he had 41 last year. So, it's kind of similar. I mean, last year, though, the only thing is Stafford is doing it on, I think Stafford's probably on pace for about 570 pass attempts. I mean, look at Baker Mayfield. We went through this in 23-24. He had about 566 to 570 pass attempts. The completion percentage went up from 64.3 to 71.4. The touchdowns went from 28 to 41. He went from 4.9% to 7.2%. Guess where he's at this year? 4.9%. Just what it was 2 years ago. What is he at? 22 touchdowns. So he might have 28 like he did 2 years ago. I mean, come on. Simple math sometimes. So, yeah, I'm not getting sucked into Matthew Stafford next year. At the age 38.
Why not? Come on.
And what if he if he wins the Super Bowl, he retires, right?
Oh, you think he has to, right? MVP.
He might anyway, right?
I don't know.
I mean, he's still playing at a high level, but
if he's playing like this, why would you?
Yeah.
I mean, come on, he still has it. Rams fans don't want to hear it. They're like, no, please don't talk about this. I don't know. I could see him keep going because he's playing at such a high level. Even if there is regression, like this is still a guy that if he regresses back to his norm, they're still winning games. They're still looking like a dominant team. So I don't know. The one thing I do know is that Matthew Stafford is the MVP this season. He's just been absolutely phenomenal. And in fantasy, like Adam said, if you picked him, I don't know if you would have picked him up off the waiver wire or drafted him as your second quarterback without kind of giving it a thought and just saying, oh, okay, I'll get Stafford just in case one of my top guys goes down. He's been phenomenal for you. And it's been really fun to watch, but it's more fun to watch, Adam, when they're losing on Thursday Night Football to our Seattle Seahawks.
Be careful. You might see them in the first round.
It's only for today, to be totally honest. I don't usually talk like this, but it was so fun. The players were trash talking them. The Rams players, did you see that? 16-point lead, they blew it.
Yeah, look, as we've seen this year in the NFL, these games are never over. That was a 2-possession game. So, like you said, you were worried because Sam Darnold looked like he couldn't lead a drive. Those are 2 pretty bad interceptions, and Shaheed just changed that momentum with that. Just because that's it. Just in the blink of an eye, you're down 1 possession now, and that changed the game. But it was a wild game. It was a good game, entertaining. We usually get a lot of hype on games that don't deliver. This one absolutely delivered, and you got some massive fantasy performances. Especially again, Puka Nacua, boy, what a game for him.
Crazy. He's been. I want to see screenshots once it comes to it, but I wonder how many fantasy championship teams he's going to be on this year.
I hope it's mine.
Probably going to be a lot. I mean, he's had a great season, and you had him in 2. Look at that.
Yeah, look,
great day.
Noah Adams. I guess that helped a little bit, right?
I think so for sure.
But, I mean, look at this stretch, though, the last 3 games. He's had 7 for 167 and 2 touchdowns, 9 for 181, and 12 for 225 and 2 touchdowns. So this is a flashback into what he did at the beginning of the year. He had the 3 100-yard games in the first 4, tailed off a little bit, missed some time with injury, missed about 3 weeks. So, he's turned it on. And
it's been awesome.
And we need one more big week from him.
There we go. Week 8 or week 17, I should
Just
say.
don't get suspended, Puka. Stay off social media.
Oh my gosh. against Atlanta. They're at Atlanta week 17, so we can see what he's doing over there. But a great game to start the week, a great game to break down to start this show. We're going to continue on here at Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis over there on X. You know the drill, and if you don't, you can send us your questions. Any start sits, anything for week 16. We are here to help and get through as many as we can. I've got some more rankings to go through. I want to talk through Jared Goff and the Lions, Rico Dowdle, and where our expectations are for him this weekend. More players in the rankings and risers and fallers coming up here next. Fantasy Life right here. I know what day it is too, Adam, because that game is behind me now. It's Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. You've made it to the end of the week. Hopefully, great things are on the horizon for your fantasy football teams. We are breaking everything down that you need to know, though, for week 16 across the NFL. And then you can also go to fantasylife.com. That's where you can find our newsletter, 100% free. And all the rankings we talk about, all the projections are there, the utilization report, our start sit tool. If you don't have time to call us in, send us a message. You can go to fantasylife.com and use that start sit tool as well. More rankings, risers and fallers here, Adam, just talking about and looking through some of the questions that we had yesterday as well. The Indianapolis Colts to you. Are you starting? I guess I could ask you right now, are you starting any of them? I think besides Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor's the one that we've talked about before, but even then, you have to lower your expectations a lot. This might be a situation where Jonathan Taylor helped you get to the fantasy playoffs, but he could also be the one that doesn't help you get very far. You got 13.1 fantasy points last week going up against Seahawks. They do have a little bit of an easier matchup. They are at home facing the San Francisco 49ers. Then week 17, they take on Jacksonville, but it's really a question of Phillip Rivers and how much you trust Phillip Rivers. Again, an easier defense to face, but when you look at the pass catchers, Tyler Warren, Alec Pierce, Michael Pittman Jr. more specifically, what are your expectations for them?
Not high at all. I mean, we saw Rivers basically throw passes behind the line of scrimmage, at the line of scrimmage, nothing deep. It is an easier defense this week against San Francisco, dealing with a lot of injuries, but tough to really have faith in any of them. Maybe Tyler Warren you feel a little bit better about this week. Maybe Michael Pittman if you're desperate, but yeah, I can't. It's like a game manager role for Phillip Rivers where it's just dink and dunk and there's nothing downfield. So it's easier for defenses to defend that. So yeah, I can't. You really can't feel good.
It's so tough because the output was not good for their skill position players last week. Taylor, like I said, had 101 yards at him, but that required 28 touches in that game to even get there. So it was a grind. Michael Pittman Jr. was limited to 26 yards, 5 targets. Tyler Warren, 19 yards, 6 targets. Josh Down had the touchdown, but it was just 13 yards on 5 targets. So I looked through, and again, I will say this 49ers defense is easier. They've allowed the 8th highest DPA, and they have the upper half. They're in the upper half of the league, I should say, in fantasy points allowed to all positions. So running back, tight end, wide receiver, quarterback. So I think Taylor, though, right now is the only lineup lock. This is the Monday night game as well. Which is unfortunate, Adam, because this would have been a great Monday night game without the quarterback change. You could see the writing on the wall here and saying, okay, this is good. This is going to be a showdown. But now it just feels like it's Jonathan Taylor. And like you said, if you want to look at Tyler Warren, I have him in a range where he's all right. And he might be the one that you have to go out there and trust. And you just hope that he, again, like we always say, falls into the end zone. I've got him as tight end 12 this week. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's probably the appropriate range for him. And yeah, it's terrible if you have him because early in the year you thought you had someone that was an every week starter, and we can't say that anymore with the state of the offense.
No, it's disappointing, but it shouldn't be a good game. I was going to say should be a good game nonetheless. Wrong, Adam. Probably not. I guess if you have CMC, you're excited about it, right? Juwan Jennings with Ricky Pearsall banged up, George Kittle as well. I'm excited. Juwan Jennings is the one that I'm curious if he has a big finish to the season here.
Oh, I think he will, especially if Pearsall is out. I know Kyle Shanahan yesterday said that Pearsall feels better than he did on Monday and that there's a shot he plays, but come on, we know.
I don't believe you.
Yeah, I don't. Not for 1 second. You know,
he was out of practice yesterday too. I know that they play Monday, but
it's still a PCL injury, which he's had before. I mean, he got hurt twice during that game. He hurt his ankle on the first catch, and then he hurt his knee late in the game. So it's unfortunate because he did have a good game last week, and It just means it's going to help Jawan Jennings, who's
Yeah.
been getting into the end zone lately. So it's another great spot for him because the Indy's given up a lot of points to wide receivers lately.
I didn't even know. Like Jawan Jennings, if you would have told me he had 7 touchdowns on the year, I probably wouldn't have guessed that. But he's got 4 in the last 3 games. The 2 against Tennessee, of course, helps that. They had their bye in week 14, but he had 1 against Cleveland, 1 against Carolina. And in those last 3, he hasn't had less than 13 fantasy points. You're sitting at 15.1, 13.9, and last week 18.7. So you're right. This could be a good one where, again, Ricky Pearsall is not necessarily in the conversation because of all his injuries, but that's just something to look for. Another good potential matchup here. Aaron Jones. Aaron
Who?
Jones, no. I might have, you know what? I'm in such a good mood, maybe, but no, I'm not going to do it. Aaron Jones, and I honestly want to throw, I saw a couple Jordan Mason questions in yesterday as well, but Aaron Jones feels like a solid RB2 this week. Since week 14, you're looking at him averaging 14.5 touches, 70.5 total yards. So the snap rate is at 51.3%, route share 45%, but this just feels like a week where if you do have Aaron Jones, you're feeling a lot better about the matchup.
Yeah, for sure. The Giants are one of the worst run defenses
Yeah.
in the NFL. They've allowed the most rushing yards per game. So, yeah, it's a good spot here for Aaron Jones, who's been getting some touches lately. I guess you mentioned Jordan Mason. It's kind of more desperation,
Yeah,
I would
but like
say.
a desperation flex play
Yeah, there's
against
a
a bad
chance.
defense.
Yeah, there's a chance he can find the end zone, but again, it's risky.
It's not well. Yeah, if you're having to go to, I've got him at RB 40. So again, if
Yeah.
you're down on your luck, that's not must start territory. But I don't know.
I would have loved to have him in the
I was
GST. I
gonna
would start
say,
it.
I think with some of your quarterback concerns, you would love. I have him near Algier, Tajay
Where do
Spears,
you have Pacheco?
Devin Singletary. I've got Pacheco at 36,
Okay.
and I'm the highest. Most have him 42, 44, 42.
I
I
can't
know.
believe that's where I got to
That's where
start him.
you're at. I mean, could we see a world where Isaiah Pacheco just has a big game
I want to
because of
say
Gardner
yes,
Minshew?
but
I mean,
yeah, maybe
I
they
think
run the ball a little bit more.
I think crazier things. I think crazier things could happen.
The
I
problem
looked at,
is
yeah,
Tennessee against the run has been good with Jeffrey Simmons
that's
there.
true.
Like
That's true.
it's not good.
At least
So
you like the role that Isaiah Pacheco last week was in, right? At least that gives you a glimmer of hope that because he was the lead ball carrier week 15, 56% of the rush attempts. Kareem Hunt was the passing down option, 51% route participation rate. But I don't know. I think he's an RB3. Like I said, I've got him the highest out of all of our rankers. Just because the Gardner Minshew conversation and what this team looks like. We've talked about this all week, Adam, and we're going through the biggest week 16 questions. That has to be at the very top, though. What does the team look like that we haven't seen eliminated from the playoffs since week 14, since 2014? Like, I don't think they give up because I just don't. But I can see why people start to fade him and say I don't want to play anyone on this offense.
I mean, well, Minshew obviously wants to go out there and have a good game,
Well, yeah.
right? He's a backup, so but not having Rashee Rice more than likely, who's in concussion protocol, and I'm guessing we'll hear today that he's officially out. That really hurts. But you got Kelce, who wants to finish strong and can get to 1,000 yards and get some other
It's
records.
incentive season. I love the
But he
incentive.
also has to be careful. You don't want to have a broken leg at your wedding.
Would you stop?
I'm just saying.
You think we're getting invited to that? No.
There's a chance. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
a
I think
slight
so.
chance.
Mine is probably in the mail right now, and yours, I don't know. You've said mean things about
I
Travis
have not
Kelce.
said mean things.
It's the Titans though. I still think that Travis Kelce could have a decent enough game where if you really do have him and you are looking around and saying I have no other options, he's inside my top 10. That's not saying a lot for these tight ends once you get past. We've said this before, Adam. Once you get past the top 3 or 4 tight ends, you really get into streaming territory. But I have him at tight end 7 this week going up.
Yeah, no, he's a good play this week. He's gonna get a ton of targets, especially with Rice more than likely out.
He's just going to get the dump offs, and it's just the low A-dot stuff with Gardner Minshew. That's all he does. So I don't know. That's what I'm looking for. Harold Fannin Jr., last one here in the rankings, risers and fallers. I know we've talked about Fannin a lot this season, and we saw his game last week, and he was getting peppered with targets. That's all it was. I mean, he did not necessarily walk away with your incredible game like 25 that we saw against Tennessee, but you'll take 12. But he had 14 targets, 7 receptions, 48 yards, going up against Buffalo and really the rest of the way, because he's been inside my top 7 tight ends, I believe, for 4 or 5 weeks now. He's got Buffalo and then Pittsburgh. Speaking of this other tight end, what are your expectations with Harold Fannin in this one?
Yeah, look, the volume isn't been there every week. So I will say this, the Bills have been like very good against tight ends, second fewest receiving yards and fewest fantasy points. But I don't really look at Fannin as a tight end. He's more slot receiver.
Yeah.
So the volume is just too good. And Sanders has eyes for him and pretty much him only. So yeah, you're playing him this week.
Yeah, Bills aren't the easiest matchup, right, for tight ends. They've got a minus 3.9 fantasy boost, but we still have them projected at fantasylife.com. 12.8 points, 18.9 Xfinity best ceiling. So the role, really, Adam, is why we continue. I've had this conversation, but the role is why we continue to have them inside the top 7, top 5 tight ends, because I understand it's a struggling offense, it's a tough matchup, but the role is what you like, the targets are what you like. So that's why Harold Fannin is still in there. So I've got big questions for week 16 for you, Adam, and we're going to break them down. Again, we just talked about the Chiefs, but I want to talk about the Dolphins receivers. How bad is this Jets defense, and should we be taking advantage of it? We're going to do that and continue to go through your questions at Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis over there on X. Coming up next. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta have Xfinity. All the games all in one place. And here's what you get when you watch sports with Xfinity. You get the Sports Zone, every pro football game and over 1,000 college games, highlights and alerts all in one place. You get the multi-view, so that means you can be in up to 4 stadiums at once. You also get that Xfinity Fan View, live scores, odds, and stats all in one place, personalized to you and the teams you like, and enhanced 4K, that voice remote where you can just say football. Imagine all your football all in one place. Easy. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Vibes are immaculate on this Friday, Adam. Come on.
That was very good, but I was waiting for the Mike Jones. Come on, guys. Why wasn't that thrown in there? Come on.
You to do it. You just did it for him. Come on.
I didn't know. I don't know if
funny.
my mic was up. It's a rejoin.
Your mic is, what are you talking about?
On a rejoin, it's not up all the time.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's good to know. Wow. Learning the ins and outs. Anyways. That was great. Vibes are immaculate here. Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us here today and getting you ready for those Week 16 matchups, those semifinals matchups. Again, at Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis over there on X is where you can go if you've got any questions for us at all. I see one here from Jesse, Adam, talking about, since we were just talking about tight ends, Loveland or Schultz?
Loveland.
Question. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Sure?
Yeah.
Sure?
Yes. Now that we have official
out, Luther Burden out.
Yeah, that is just, look, the Odunze we knew was coming. Luther Burden, we were kind of crossing our fingers, hoping he would play, but yeah, with him out, I think you have to put Loveland up because it's going to be mostly him and DJ Moore commanding a lot of targets. We know the Bears want to run the football. It's going to be a heavy run game plan, but Loveland definitely gets upgraded. You wouldn't put him ahead of Schultz now?
No, I've got him 1 and 2. I've got him 8 and 9.
Okay, yeah.
With Schultz at 8. I like.
Oh, you have you have Schultz a little higher.
I have Schultz ahead, just by 1. Kind of a coin flip there, but I would personally go Schultz because I just, Las Vegas is awful. And we've talked about how bad they are. CJ Stroud looks good. I know that people are worried about, just like the blowout fashion that could come with this. We saw it with the Eagles sitting most of their starters in the fourth quarter. But to get to that number of points, Adam, you have to score. I know the defense too is another option there, but it's close enough for me where I would just say go with your gut, go with the guy that you want to ride the ship with in week 16. But I've got Schultz just 1 spot ahead. But 8 and 9, I moved Colson Loveland because I had him at 15 with the idea that maybe we would get Burden back, but that's how much he's jumped since both of those guys are out.
Yeah, I think he's got to move up significantly. Just bigger piece of the targets going to him now with all the injuries that the Bears have in what is a very critical game for them, and they're going to be shorthanded.
That's going to be a great game on Saturday night.
We hope so.
Well, we hope so. Nothing.
Can't
Nothing
say
too much
the
will happen.
appetizer is going to be that good.
No.
Philly,
Everyone make a
Washington.
go make a lasagna. It makes everything better.
I mean, I'm hoping Washington wins, but
Please. You think that's gonna happen?
no. But it's Philly. They can implode.
That's
It's a
true.
divisional
That's
game
true.
too.
Hey,
So
weird things happen with those. We just saw weird things happen with those divisional games. So you're right. 2 games on Saturday, though. Just a reminder, so make sure you're setting those lineups a little bit earlier than usual. Another tight end question here, and then we're going to get to the biggest questions for Week 16. Darren Waller or Tyler Warren this week here, Adam. We just talked about Tyler Warren, but Darren Waller has a good matchup, a rookie quarterback now, though. I did downgrade him a bit.
I'll go with Waller here, just
Yeah,
hoping that they can get the ball to him. It's the Bengals allowing the most fantasy points to tight ends by far historically. Just awful against tight ends. I know Baltimore's tight ends didn't come through last week, but it's hard to do that when your quarterback completes 8 passes. So, yeah, I'll go with Waller here. I mean, he's been really good. It's amazing how good he's looked. Even missing time with the injury, come back. He's just getting open, making plays. So, yes, with Ewers at quarterback, it's a little bit dicier, but I'll go with Waller.
Yeah, I've got him one spot ahead. Again, coin toss, 11 and 12 for me with Darren Waller, Tyler Warren. You just hope. It stinks too, Adam, because Darren Waller still does, but he had a great fantasy playoff schedule. And now and it can still happen, right? But I don't know if I'm letting Ewers decide all of my lineup decisions. I had to downgrade him, but I mean, Cincinnati, Tampa Bay to finish things off. Those are 2 really nice matchups for him. And unfortunately, realistically, he probably would have been inside my top 8, top 7, even if it was still Tua. And maybe, like I said, Ewers is the one that can just continue to feed him the football and he got 25.6 last week, but I'm not holding my breath on that one. I would still go with him over Tyler Warren, though. What about all the other, it's really one. Jalen Waddle, what are you doing with him with this Dolphins team? How much of a downgrade is it going again? Tua Tagovailoa bench this week. It's Ewers coming in. Their rookie. We've seen him one time he came in. I think he had 5 pass attempts or something like that. So we just talked about Waller. If you need a streamer tight end, you want to go with him. But at the wide receiver position, he's been downgraded significantly.
Yeah, there's definitely concern about Waddle. I mean, you could see DJ Turner, new quarterback, and this is a team that's just run heavy. Waddle looked like for a while that he was going to be that consistent wide receiver too, and now we have some questions. And we actually have him in a league, and we have to decide what to do in the charity league. Because
I think we bench him.
Okay, but so we also have Michael Pittman. Oh no, I dropped him. My bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Oh, we have Burden who's out, so it comes down to Waddle, Christian Watson, or Michael Carter for a flex.
I really hope Watson plays.
And we go with him. I mean, Waddle again has the Bengals, but again, Turner's
been good.
If you're the Bengals, like, you gotta shadow Waddle. They have no one else, right? You gotta put Turner on Waddle.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
I've got Waddle at wide receiver 20. If we're talking about flex, he goes to 44, and then Carter I have at 49. So it's pretty close.
Yeah, I guess that's and you probably have Watson lower.
I do because I've had him in the ranks right now. I don't know if he plays. So I have him at 80 as a placeholder, but that's not the real ranking obviously if he's out, I take him out. If he's in, I'll probably put him right in that range.
My guess is he plays. He was practicing. It doesn't seem like it was as serious as we thought. He was down on the field for a while. So
that's my only concern is if he plays, how banged up is he? Are they putting him out there, but then they're going to feature more Jaden Reed, more Romeo Doubs in that situation? Yeah,
the Bears have been getting gashed by slot receivers, so that does bode well for Jaden Reed.
Yeah, that's the only thought there. But something to look at. And again, fantasylife.com for those rankings that we're talking about. More big questions, though. I want to talk through, looking at this Jets defense and how bad they are. If you need a Tyler Shuck, if you need maybe an extra running back to get on your bench here for the weekend, and looking at Mike Evans and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we're going to break that down and more of your questions here coming up next. Fantasy Life right here, helping you get through Week 16 in the fantasy semifinals. Your secret weapon, Adam, is making a lasagna before big games. That's the secret weapon.
Well, you could have told me this a few
to let
weeks
people
ago,
know.
and I could have done it before the
For
Cowboys
what?
games, and maybe the outcome would have been different.
Hey, your Cowboys have done a lot better than I think everyone
Oh,
expected this
stop. I
year.
don't want to hear
You
it.
don't think so?
No, I'm
You're not
disappointed.
happy with Schottenheimer,
He's
our
done
new
a.
head coach? I think he's done better than
He
I
has, but
expected.
losing the last 2 weeks, man, come on.
I know. Well, all we need is fantasy points, and then you'll feel better about it.
Well,
Or winning
you might want to
bets.
tell George Pickens to wake up then. That's another. Yeah, we have him on our team.
Yeah. We'll go make a lasagna, Adam. Maybe the lucky lasagna can visit you then.
Okay. Did you think it was lucky though after Darnold was throwing those picks?
I said to myself, at least I had a really nice dinner. At least I had a really nice. I'm telling you, it was my best one I've made so far. But yeah, then it all happened, and they were able to come back. The stats that I continue seeing in that game just continue to make it even crazier that the Seahawks won. Since 1975, teams with 400 plus yards, 0 giveaways, 0 sacks taken, and 3+ takeaways were 79-0 prior to tonight.
That is insane.
1975.
But it's not surprising. Like I said, if I were to just give you those stats, you were like, oh, how much did the Rams win by?
Exactly. Total implosion. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't be happier, though. And now I've got lasagna to eat for the next 4 days.
4 days? That's it?
Yeah. I mean, I had my whole family was over, so we don't have
Okay.
much left.
So that means no lasagna on Christmas now, right?
No, I probably got to have that. What is that? Is that next Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday.
Tuesday? Wednesday?
You're not
Wow,
going to know which
that's
day it
crazy.
is, so
No.
you're not even going to know it's Christmas.
No, I totally won't. Christmas came early. It was yesterday, watching the Seahawks. Anyway.
For you, yeah.
Anyways, we got big week 16 questions here. I want to ask if the Jets defense to you is so awful that you can flex not a good amount of players, but if you can look at the Saints and start flexing some of these guys. My answer, Adam, might be yes to this. And this is, again, desperate deep plays if you're really banged up like all of Adam's teams or most of Adam's teams right now. But I don't know. I moved up Juwan Johnson, and I did move up Audric Estime after they said it looked like he was going to be the lead running back for this team. Chris Olave is still where he always is. Tyler Shuck has a good chance to be a streamer if you need him, if maybe you lost Patrick Mahomes and no one else is out there. Tyler Shuck has been giving you, at least the last 3 weeks, good outings. So how bad is this Jets defense, and can we play some of these guys? I won't say with confidence, but if we need it in a pinch.
Yeah, there's not too many, obviously, right? I mean, Chris Olave locked in.
Yep.
And Juwan Johnson, borderline tight end 1. We know Devon Vele is out. And then you mentioned the backfield. It would probably be Audric Estime, who had 6 touches last week. Hull had 4. Hull did not get any targets in the passing game. Estime did. So you prefer the pass catching back in half-point PPR or full-point PPR. So, yeah, those would be the guys. And, Tyler Shuck, you feel pretty good about. I think more in Superflex. Or if you lost Mahomes and there wasn't much on waivers, maybe he was the best option. He's running a little bit too. So, yeah, you are hoping there might be more players that you could look at for the Saints in this matchup against the Jets. But those would probably be the guys.
We just need a big Chris Olave game. I don't think that's too much to ask for, to be honest. I've got Tyler Shuck QB 17. So unless you and listen, Trevor Lawrence is one that you have to downgrade because of the matchup against the Broncos. I know some people picked up Bryce Young going up against Tampa, JJ McCarthy against the Giants. But what Tyler Shuck's been able to give us in fantasy, 17 plus fantasy points in 3 straight games in 4 of his past 5. So I think he's going to have a terrific matchup against this Jets defense. Again, they are top 10 in passing touchdowns, quarterback fantasy points allowed, and they just fired their defensive coordinator. I don't know if that's going to rally them up or anything like that. I don't think they're going to come out strong after.
Yeah, the good old defensive coordinator bump, right?
Yeah. Why not? No, I'm not going to do that. But at least can we just get big Chris Olave game? Wouldn't that be nice? That'd be lovely. I'll take 3 touchdowns.
That's it? 3? Why not ask for
2.
more?
How about 2? 2 touchdowns?
Yeah, Olave's been really good this year. He was a guy that a lot of people were reluctant to draft him, worried about the concussions, this offense, but has stayed healthy and put up really good numbers. He's got 896 yards on the season, 6 touchdowns, 82 receptions. So outside chance, maybe he gets to 100, right? I mean, 18 receptions over the last 3 games. He could do that. That's 6 per game. That's generally where he's been at. So, good chance that he gets 100 receptions on the season. That would be nice.
That'd be nice. Other side of this game, really quickly, Breece Hall. How tough is it to trust Breece Hall against this Saints team? Maybe going to be a bad script to begin with. Jets are playing not as well, to say it nicely, down the stretch. They get Brady Cook as the starting quarterback again. I'll have to see where I have him, but is he startable to you, Breece Hall?
Very difficult. I wouldn't want to. Yes, he is a volume based running back, and the Saints have been giving up some rushing yards. He also was dealing with like a knee injury
Yeah.
and lost some time to Isaiah Davis last week because Davis got the touchdown. So I would like to bench Breece Hall if I can.
RB 31 over the last 5 weeks. That's
Exactly.
what you're getting with Breece Hall. And he was, like you just said, losing work a little bit to Davis in that loss to Jacksonville. So I am trying to avoid at all costs. I know that some might not have that luxury, but when you go to the rankings, I've actually got him as RB 27.
Yeah.
It's not very good. You
Probably the
probably have
lowest
better
he's been all
options.
year.
Yeah, it is. It is, unfortunately. Let's see if he can do a little bit better than that. But like I said, over the last 5 weeks, it has not been good. All right, it's time to go to that fantasy life water cooler, going through the news and notes that you need to know and taking as many of your questions as we can. So give us a call on the phone lines here. Send us a message over there on X. We're heading to the water cooler coming up next. Oh, fantasy football is live. We are in the semifinals of the fantasy playoffs for most of you, and we are here to answer as many questions and help you out throughout the show. Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Kendall Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you on this Friday. The phone number to call in, 888-963-2682, or you can press that new call-in button on the Sirius XM app. You can also find us over there on X, Adam, at KValenzuela17, at Adam Ronis over there. You can send us your questions if you have the time, and if not, you can go to fantasylife.com. Everything you need to make the best lineup decisions are over there. You get our rankings, our projections. We have the start-sit tool as well. We have the utilization report. We have everything that you need, so make sure you go over there, fantasylife.com, and in the water cooler, this is where we not only go through your questions, but we also go through the biggest news and notes that you need to know. Just kind of some practice updates, right, Adam? That's really what we're looking for here. And actually, I did not hit this at the beginning, but we also have Jacoby Myers. Did you see that news? Jacoby Myers is able to stick around with his new team. He signed a 3-year, $60 million contract extension yesterday with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that's going to allow him to stay through the 2028 season per, I saw it from The Athletic there. So again, 3 years, $60 million, $40 million guaranteed. And he's been a really sound part of this offense since they traded for him earlier in this season. So he requested a trade from Las Vegas in August, and then he was eventually sent to Jacksonville for a 4th and 6th round pick. And yeah, he's loving Jacksonville right now. Look at that.
Yeah, he's played very well for him. The first game, he did not have a big game, just 3 for 41, but that was to be expected as you're learning a new system and working with a new quarterback. But since then, he's been pretty consistent. I mean, you've gotten double-digit points in PPR in 5 straight games. And this offense is really clicking at a high level right now. I mean, they've been facing some favorable opponents, but doesn't matter. The production has been there and should be, I would think this week, Patrick Surtain might shadow Brian Thomas, would be my guess. So Jacoby Myers should avoid him, maybe sees him a little bit, but and Jacoby Myers has also helped Brian Thomas because if you look at the average depth of target, they're taking more shots downfield to Brian Thomas now. So it's opened it up and it's allowed Thomas to make these big plays.
Yeah, I'm really curious. I think you're right with the BTJ call out and Pat Surtain. So that does bode well for Jacoby Myers managers and whoever he goes against. I mean, we know how great of a corner he is, and you're looking at like no one's able to really score on him. And so those receivers that go up against him in these last 7 games, I should say, averaging 9.4 fantasy points per game. None of them all season have cleared 15.3. So I know that Myers, might be someone because he's been so productive in recent weeks, but I think BTJ makes him, that perimeter role that we've talked about with him makes him a little bit more vulnerable. So I'm excited for this game as well, Adam, because I want to see what Trevor Lawrence looks like, right? This is a tough matchup on both sides as well. I mean, they shouldn't be sleeping on Jacksonville's defense either, but Denver has been incredible this season, and especially at home. I believe the stat is they're 7-0 at home, undefeated so far this season. So Trevor Lawrence is coming off a complete opposite game where he had to face the Jets defense, and he put up 44.3 fantasy points. And I can almost guarantee that he's not going to be able to do that in this outing. But I do want to see, where just how he stacks up with this Denver Broncos defense. He still remains a threat with his arm. He's been running as well, which gives us a fantasy boost with the rushing upside with his legs. So we'll see if the hot streak continues. I don't think it's going to, like I said, be 44 fantasy points, but this defense, they've allowed the fourth fewest passing touchdowns, seventh fewest quarterback fantasy points this season. So I think no matter what, he's a risky streaming option if you have him.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people benched him last week too. With Lawrence.
Yeah, I think so.
Which that was brutal to watch. 6 total touchdowns, but it is a much difficult matchup this week on the road, and Lawrence has played very well. Multiple touchdown passes in 4 straight, running a lot more. He's got 6 rushing touchdowns on the season, so yeah, he has played very well these last 4 weeks. But the opponents were Arizona, Tennessee, Indianapolis, and the Jets. This is a step up in competition, and the last 2 times he faced good defenses against the Chargers. Now, that was a blowout. That game was over early. He only had 22 pass attempts. He had 153 and a touchdown. And against the Texans defense, the week before, he had 158 passing yards and a touchdown. So, yeah, I would say you're probably going to get in between what you saw last week and those tough opponents. It's a tougher challenge this week on the road in Denver.
It definitely is. Just sticking with this game, I just wanted to know, Travis Etienne, you feel the same way with a little bit. When we say downgrade, you don't bench him, but you have to lower your expectation in this one, because again, this matchup is a tough one for him on the ground against Denver too.
Yeah, you're playing him.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
he's just been too good at this point. I mean, like, who are you benching him for? Like,
Audric Estime. No, I'm totally kidding. Don't do that.
And look, Etienne, as he showed last week, can get it done in a variety of ways. He can get it done in the passing game if they struggle on the ground. But yeah, Denver has been really good. Denver has allowed one running back to rush for over 100 yards, and that was all the way back in week 2, and that was Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, wow.
They haven't faced a lot of good. They haven't faced good running backs though lately. They faced Jacobs, who had 12 for 73, but we know he's not been 100%. I mean, Genty behind an offensive line that is brutal. The Washington backfield, Kansas City, Genty again, Nick Chubb. Oh my, Javonte Williams, Tracy.
So maybe Etienne can have that big game.
Yeah.
That's what we need. No matter what, though, gonna be a fun one, and just lower expectations a little bit though when we're looking at Jacksonville. But shout out to Jacoby Myers again. He was able to get that 3-year, $60 million contract extension, so he's gonna be with them. Looks like through the 2028 season. Some more just updates on the injury front. Rome Odunze and Luther Burden have been ruled out for this game. So again, this is the Saturday game. Both of these guys ruled out. We kind of knew it with Rome Odunze. We were waiting on the updates for Luther Burden. If you have him, you're putting him on your bench. But Adam, what does this do for I want to talk about DJ Moore here and Colston Loveland. I think both of these guys, and Colston Loveland might not be getting as much love, but we got to talk about both these guys really stepping up because this is expected to be a good game. It's the later game of the slate on Saturday, but DJ Moore's coming off that 2-touchdown game last week. I know the final touchdown, the second one, was just something that 9 times out of 10 you do it again, and maybe he doesn't come down with it. But no matter what, it feels like the chemistry between those two is getting a little bit better between him and Caleb Williams. And when that happens, special things happen, like we saw with that final touchdown. So what are your expectations for him and Colston Loveland with Odunze and Burden out?
They're clearly upgrades just by the eliminating those two and getting those targets. So it's still a difficult matchup, but people have probably held him all year, frustrated, not playing him, and now all of a sudden this is like the best spot he's been in all season in terms of getting targets. He hasn't had more than 7 targets in a game. He hasn't had a
Wow.
100-yard game. Yeah, it's been a brutal year, and I've always liked DJ Moore and drafted him every year. This was the first year I was out on him. I guess I picked the right year. But now I do see one of my opponents has DJ Moore this week. I'm like,
Uh-oh.
great. That's not good. Uh, but yeah, even last week, it's still, he had the 2 touchdowns, but it was still only 5 targets, 4 for 69. But you would take that this week if you're putting him in the lineup. So
Yeah. Well,
Luther Burden,
three of
yeah, I
them were
mean,
end zone targets.
Luther Burden has really emerged here. So taking him out, that's massive. A massive
Yeah.
loss for the offense. And we got to remember, too, Caleb Williams has been inaccurate. That's part of the problem here. I mean, you look at we've talked about Odunze's catch rate, how bad it is. Even DJ Moore, it's not much better. I mean, Moore has 71 targets, 43 receptions.
Mm-hmm.
But,
No, yeah.
I mean, Moore's going to be on the field a lot, and he's going to get the targets. So, Olamide Zaccheaus also will play a lot. But we've seen him play a lot and not get targets. And I guess Devin Duvernay would be the next guy after that. But Coastal Loveland, certainly an upgrade, and maybe even a Cole Kmet, too.
Yeah, I agree. And I said this stat before, but Green Bay ranks 27th fantasy points per game allowed on end zone targets weeks 12 to 15, and that's exactly what we saw DJ Moore in just last week. 3 end zone targets against Cleveland. Yes, it was Cleveland. I understand that, but he caught 2 of 4 of them for 2 of them for the touchdown. So I'm excited to see what DJ Moore does here, only because, Adam, I also have him in one league and would love to say nice things about him for one more week. That would be fantastic. And Luther Bird, and Colston Loveland as well. So that's what I'm looking at. Hey, Josh Jacobs, how worried are you about him with the knee ankle injury right now?
Look, I think you have to be worried because
But
we
we've
know.
seen this before,
Yeah,
right?
but I know that, but you cannot tell me that you feel good about him. There has to be
No.
concern. This has been going on for a while. He's not able to practice. At some point, it's going to become a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So you're hoping that he plays at this point. See, everyone's assuming that he will because we just see him go out there and toughen it out. I mean, he only had 12 carries last week. So we did see the volume decrease. Now, he came through because he had 73 and a touchdown, but now it's a short week. I think you have to be worried. And I think he should sit.
Ooh. Now,
No, I'm not saying
you're saying that
because I have
you
Emmanuel Wilson. Yeah.
I thought you meant you should sit him. I was like, what?
No.
Way. Get out of here. Don't listen to Adam. It is one of those things though where you've said it. I mean, at some point it is going to come back to bite him a little bit. And he's been such a tough player. That's why everyone's so confident, right? He did this. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago?
Like every week this year. I mean, there was a game.
Was one where he didn't practice all week. And then they said he's good to go. And you say, okay.
That's the thing. Usually in these scenarios with a player going through a week of no practice, you're like, he's not playing. And then with Jacobs, it's a game time decision. He goes out there and he has a good game. He had 2 touchdowns last week. Yep. We did see 15 touches, which is a little low for him. He had 22 in the first matchup against the Bears. So look, he's active. You're playing him, but at one of these games, he's not going to be able to make it through.
Yeah. And you never want injuries, but it'll also stink on the other side because if he doesn't make it through, people will not have started Emmanuel Wilson in that game either. So just watch those injury reports. If you have Emmanuel Wilson, just keep an eye out. This is a game, again, that's on Saturday, tomorrow. So just make sure you're watching for that, and we'll see if he's good to go. Same with Christian Watson has the questionable tag on him, Adam. So I see a question here asking from Mike, full point PPR, would you play Jaden Reed with Watson playing, or would you go with Egbuka? That's the big question here. If Christian Watson goes out, what do we do with Jaden Reed? I've seen a couple of Romeo Doubs questions, but this team has continued to spread the ball around, but Christian Watson's been the one that has stepped up. So if he's out there, how healthy do you think he is, and are you willing to start any other Packers receiver?
Yeah, I probably go Reed, even if Watson plays over Egbuka.
Yeah,
it's tough though, because again, you don't want to trust any of these Green Bay receivers when everyone's healthy, except maybe Watson, with the way he's played and his big play capability. We just see them spread the ball around so much that it's very frustrating. But again, Jaden Reed does have a good matchup here against the Bears.
And then Jaden Reed over Egbuka.
Oh, that's what I was saying. Reed over Igbuka. What are you
Oh, yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Reed and Watson? You're like, which one of them, of those
No, he
two?
was saying, would you play Reed with like if Christian Watson
I
is
don't want
good
to
to
play
go, would
both.
you play?
No,
No,
I
no,
don't
no,
want
no,
to.
no. But if Watson is out there, just in general, managers with Jaden Reed, would you still start Jaden Reed with Christian Watson playing?
It depends on who you're comparing him to.
Okay, got it. Yeah, thanks for the question, Mike. Again, at Key Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis over there on X is where you can go to send us some more of those questions. Looks like so T. Higgins remained limited in their practice yesterday, so we still don't have an answer, an update there. Bad-ish update was that Woody Marks did not practice again, Adam. So, but Nick Chubb was practicing in a limited capacity there. So if you were picking up Jawar Jordan, something you just have to pay attention to. Tedero McMillan did return to practice for the Carolina Panthers. And like I said, Nick Chubb returned to a full practice, on Thursday. And then Chris Rodriguez was not on the final injury report. So it looks like he's going to be good to go as well. Rashee Rice still in concussion protocol. And I think that's it. And we have no idea what's happening with Drake London, per usual. We have no clue, Adam.
Well, so Drake London's comments yesterday was that he's trending in the right direction. And he has been limited in practice. So hopefully we get a full practice today.
I hope
And he
so.
does indeed return. That would be great for those that have Drake London and have been able to survive.
Lovely.
Because, boy, he's got a really good matchup. So you got to hope that he's healthy. And it was not just a knee injury. He was also dealing with, it was like a hip injury and a shoulder injury too. So
It was a lot.
yeah,
He's been through a lot.
He's got the Juwan Jennings, where remember Jennings had like 17 broken ribs and like every body part was.
My favorite was the two high ankle sprains.
Yeah.
Or like a high ankle sprain and a low ankle sprain. But now look at him. He's doing great. So
Yeah,
maybe
so
he's on the same trajectory.
You can
That's what
overcome
we
those
need.
injuries.
That's what we need. Let's go out to the phone lines now. Appreciate everyone hanging out and being patient over there. Let's go out to Scott in Detroit. Scott, what do you got for us? Potentially. Oh, there we go.
Start Jaden Reed over Brian Thomas Jr. this week, given the matchup with Surtain. And then is there any world in which you would, based matchup wise purely, start Aaron Jones over Javonte Williams?
Okay. Let's start with the first one. So it was Brian Thomas Jr. and Jaden Reed, right? That was the first one, Adam. So I've got BTJ at wide receiver 28 this week, and I've got Jaden Reed at 26.
Yeah, I lean Reed too. Again, we don't know who Surtain's going to shadow. It would probably be Thomas. Jacoby Myers has been so good. You'd think it should be him, but yeah, I would go with Jaden Reed there.
And then what was the other one? Javonte Williams and
or Aaron Jones.
Who? Oh, that is pretty fun. I see why you do that now, though.
Yeah.
Who would you go with?
I would go with Javonte Williams. I know
that was so fun.
He's got the tougher matchup, but he's getting so much volume this year.
Yeah.
And he's got the best shot to score a touchdown. So I will go with Javonte Williams.
Yeah, I've got Javonte running back 14 this week in my rankings. You guys can find those at fantasylife.com. So I agree with that. And that should be a great game, too. Appreciate you calling in, Scott. Good luck this weekend. I want to go to a couple of more questions that I see over here on X. Again, at Key Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis. Here's one from Eric. Henry, Dowdle, Irving, or Henderson? Oh, start 3. Full point PPR. So Derrick Henry, Rico Dowdle, Bucky Irving, or Travion Henderson?
So you got to sit one.
Sit 1. Well, yes. Start
probably, it's between Dowdle and Irvin to sit, but probably Dowdle.
Gosh, I can't believe the fall that we had to talk about with Rico Dowdle. That's just been so disappointing.
Look, he was the main back last week, but it's also... We know the Bucs are better against the run than they are against the pass. But yeah, I mean, Dowdle, he's had 34 carries the last 2 games for 107 yards. So the efficiency has gone way down.
And he split the passing down work with Chuba. They both had a 45% route participation rate, 5% target share. So yeah, I think Dowdle there. We have him projected for 13.3 fantasy points this week. Another one here from Coach Grinch, the Grinch. Dak Prescott or Brock Bowers this weekend? Or no, I'm sorry, Brock Purdy. I see Brock.
Yeah, I think that's close. You can make a case for Brock, but I'm still going to go Dak.
I am too. You nervous about that? No, you don't care.
Well, do I have? Yeah, I do have Dak in playoff leagues. My home league, I have Dak.
You had two or three leagues.
We have Dak in our
charity,
CBS charity league.
The other two, you've got him in GST.
No, I have.
Okay.
Oh no, Dak. The other league I have Dak. I got eliminated last week.
Ah, dang, stinks. I do still have Dak Prescott, QB8 this week. Even though a tougher matchup going up against the Chargers, like we've talked about here.
Chargers coming off a very emotional win. This is kind of a letdown spot for them.
Ooh, all right. And the Los Angeles defense too. They've allowed the second fewest fantasy points to receivers as well. So I know that obviously we're still just starting CeeDee Lamb. George Pickens maybe can get better
if he wants to. It's all on him. I cannot believe what has happened to George Pickens. Like, you had such a great year. Everything was going well. You're in a contract year. And then the last 2 weeks, especially the game against the Lions with that lack of effort. And
I know.
I don't know what's going on.
Well, didn't they go the first 3 quarters he had 1 target? Was that last week with George Pickens?
Probably, yeah. He had 3 for 33 last week.
At least halftime. So, the fall has been significant, especially the 3 weeks before that. 29.4, 29.6, 16.8, weeks 11, 12, and 13. And now he's not even getting 9 fantasy points. So you hope that it turns around. It might not be the best spot with the Chargers. Again, we appreciate everyone hanging out with us here today on this Friday at Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis over there on X is where you can continue sending in your questions. We are going to go through go hard or go home. Which players are going to go hard for our fantasy leagues? Which ones might be sending us home? We're going to break it down here next. Happy Friday, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us right here. Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Kendall Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you here, continuing to answer your questions and going through Go Hard or Go Home here, presented by the great people over there. What am I saying? Wait, yeah. Go hard or go home. Is that what we're doing? Yeah, of course that's what we're doing. I don't know, Adam. What's happening here today?
What day is it?
Friday. Oh, okay. It's because, you know what? It's because I'm going to Disneyland. That's why. Did I tell you that?
No, you didn't.
Oh, yeah. I had to hedge my bets. If the Seahawks were going to lose, I was going to feel a little bit better about going to Disneyland, right?
Well, now you feel great.
See? You would go on all the rides, right?
No, I'm not a rides person.
Yes, you would.
I'm not.
Really? None?
Oh, yeah.
What do you mean?
I think it's because when I was young, I didn't really go to...
Okay.
So, like, the first time I went to Great Adventure, I was 18.
I don't even know what Great Adventure is.
Oh, I guess more of an East Coast thing, right?
Is
roller
it
coasters
like
and everything.
Amusement park?
Yeah. Okay, I hate roller coasters.
Oh, see, I love them. Okay, I'll send you a video on one today.
Yeah.
The Incredicoaster where you go upside down? Yeah. Sign me up.
I remember, so this was years ago. This girl was like, she really wanted to go. I was like, I'll go with you, but I'm not going on any rides. And I think she felt like, oh, yeah, he's going to go with me. I didn't. I watched her go on the rides. And she's like, you're not going? I said, I told you. I'll take you, but I'm not going on any rides.
Oh, that's incredible. You said I was not lying. I'm 10 days down on this. What about like the teacups or like the kiddie, right? You know, the ones where you spin?
Okay, fine. But yeah, any roller coasters that go high, fast, twists and turns upside down, hell no. Because I feel like I'm going to fall off, and I don't like that feeling.
That's the point. You're supposed to.
I don't. You're supposed and then I see some of these rides where things do happen. I don't want to be one of that small percentage of people that something happens on a roller coaster.
You got to take the risk. You got to live.
I don't want to take the risk. I can have fun other ways.
Well, that's where I'll be today. If anyone else is going over there, I do have a bit of semi-breaking-ish news right here, Adam. Looks like Aaron Glenn did say that Garrett Wilson will not play for the rest of the season. So probably something that we expected because we had not seen. How long is it? I mean, he's been out for a really long time. It was really unfortunate for all drafters of one Garrett Wilson here, but he's been shut down and been on IR for quite some. I mean, he hasn't played. We haven't seen him since week 6. That's horrible.
No. It's week 6.
He had 2 double zeros. He had 2 double zeros against Cleveland, New England, 10 and 11. He had 3 targets and then no targets. I don't know what happened against New England, or if he just wasn't in the game plan, or was he concussed? I can't remember. He played against Cleveland, had 3 targets, no receptions.
Yeah, he came back and I think aggravated the knee. Wow, I didn't even realize he missed that much. It's been
all season. We have not had a genuine conversation about him since week 6 against Denver. He had 4.3 points.
That was a London game.
Yep.
Yeah, then he came back.
And then he was out until their bye, and then he came back. Didn't do at 3 targets.
Yeah. Damn.
It's been all year.
What a brutal year. Because I only had him in one league. So I had IR spots. So I just put him on IR. I wasn't counting on him to come back. But yeah, pretty brutal because he was putting up numbers before he got injured. I mean, he had 4 touchdowns in the first 5 games.
22.5, 9, 24, 20, 19.1.
Absolutely brutal because even with Fields playing as poorly as he was, Wilson was still producing. So, yeah, that was a big loss for fantasy players.
Disappointing. So again, something we probably saw coming because you weren't relying on Garrett Wilson to win your fantasy leagues. But again, he has been shut down for the remainder of the season per head coach Aaron Glenn. So now let's go through go hard or go home since I completely got that out of the way. I had to talk about Disneyland for a second. Go hard or go home here presented by Mike's Hard Lemonade. See the guys that might be going hard for our leagues this week. I know we've talked about the Jacksonville-Denver game, but Cortland Sutton, is he going to go hard for you this week or is he going to go home?
Sutton, we know the talent is there. It's been a little frustrating. There's been some weeks where he's disappointed. And looks like we're going to get Pat Bryant playing, right?
Yes.
I think he's back at practice.
Looks like it. He practiced in full.
They spread the ball out so much. I mean, every week it's like 10, 11 different players are targeted. The Jacksonville pass defense has not been good. They also don't generate a lot of pressure. So if I'm going to pick this week, I'm going to go for Cortland Sutton, go hard.
Yes, I love that. He's seen 10 or more targets in back-to-back weeks as well. I know Pat Bryant and everything else that people have been talking about. Looks like he's going to be back. He's seen 8 or more targets, though, in 7 games this season. So I'm kind of relying on the Sutton-Nix connection to come through here. And I just think he's been a consistent producer. That's what we've looked at with Cortland Sutton. Not someone that we talk about week in and week out and not always on the biggest winners, graphics that we make, but someone that you can still rely on, especially this week. So I like that one. Go hard or go home. Zay Flowers over there for the Baltimore Ravens. What do you think? First time scoring a touchdown since week 1 in week 15.
Yeah, and again, that was my biggest problem with him for fantasy this year. There were some people calling for him to break out, and I didn't see it. Like, he's not going to break out if he doesn't score 6, 7, 8 touchdowns, and it's just not in his range of outcomes with he's not a red zone threat, and we know Baltimore will run in the red zone with Henry or look at the tight ends. I would say this week, I don't expect a massive week, but I don't expect an awful week. So I will say, you can see Christian Gonzalez this week. I'll say go home.
Yeah, he's been, I don't know. We just the same as you. I did not draft much of him this season. No, I actually didn't draft him anywhere. I have none. Couple guillotine leagues at the very beginning, but I will say the last 2 weeks he's been solid for you. 20.6 fantasy points, 15.8. Again, you talked about Gonzalez just now, but they do get New England. They're at home in this one. It's just been they've had offensive struggles that do have a cause for concern for us. And their passing game ranks 29th in EPA per dropback, 25th in dropback success rate. Lamar Jackson hasn't been the Lamar Jackson that we know and love in real life NFL and in fantasy football. But he did put together an okay enough line last week where I do think that it'll be good enough for Zay Flowers, but not someone that's going to send you to the championship. Let's just say that. Last one here on the other side of this game, because I saw a couple questions on Hunter Henry going up against Baltimore. So Patriots tight end, go hard or go home against this Ravens defense?
Go home. I mean, you can't count on him. Ravens, especially the last 6 games or so, have been very good against tight ends. And yeah, there's really no one in this Patriots passing game that you can rely on at all.
I was just going to ask you that. Is it like, could we say go hard for any, like Stephon Diggs, anyone, Booty? Like, no.
I mean, I always was going to say go hard for Booty, but that's different. You set me up for that one. Sorry. Diggs, look, the concern with Diggs is the route share and the snaps. Like, what is going on? So I thought, after looking at things, they had to buy in week 14. So I said, okay, maybe they've had so much success that they can slow play this and then ramp them up towards the end of the season, the final few weeks and into the postseason. And that didn't happen again. So I don't know what's going on with him. 13% target share last week.
I know.
58.6% route rate. Like, what are we doing here? It's been pretty bad for Diggs lately. Like, it looked like he was starting to turn.
Yes, we got teased with it. We said,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is it." We said, "Perfect." He's fully. It was a game where we said, and I don't even remember how many weeks ago it was. We said, "Perfect." He's week 11 maybe against New York, the Jets. I don't know if it was that late in the season though. He got 19.5 fantasy points, but we said, "Perfect." He's finally like 100% healthy, and they're really going to rely on him. But they're just not. He's had 11 targets. He's had 2 games with over 10 targets, and he's really hovering around the 7 to 5 target range for Stephon Diggs. He's just not being utilized.
Since that Jets game that you talked about, he's played 3 games. He has 11 targets, 8 receptions. He's been held on 26 yards or fewer in 3 straight games. And I thought last week against Buffalo that he would get fired up for that one, and it did not happen. So yeah, I don't know what's going on. I mean, he's had some good matchups too that he has not been able to come through.
Yep, it just you can't rely on any of those pass catchers. Really, is what we're looking at, and so it's really Travion Henderson, right? Travion Henderson to the moon. That's what we have to hope for in this game. That's a go. Is that a go hard for you this week, Henderson?
It's always tough to say that with Travion, but I'm gonna say yes. I mean,
Yeah.
Look again. Can New England? It's taken long enough, but can they just realize after seeing last week, especially that run where he ran to the right, it should have been a loss for a tackle for a loss, and then he reverses field and scores a touchdown. That's the whole thing that we are saying. I know sometimes people get mad at fantasy players because, like, oh, you're just looking at it from a fantasy lens. But even looking at it from a real life perspective, again, Stevenson's solid back. Nothing wrong with him. He's not breaking these plays like Henderson. They have no speed in this offense. Like, I thought Kyle Williams would play more this year because of the speed that he brings, and they were lacking it. It's not happening. Henderson is the one playmaker, the guy that can break a big play. They don't have that in this offense. So you got to hope that they saw last week and said, you know what, maybe it is time. I know pass protection has been an issue for him, but you don't. So that's fine. If he's not on the field a lot in passing situations, that's okay. But get him carries on the ground, like a couple of checkdowns too. But yeah, it's been frustrating with Henderson. But yeah, I will say go hard here.
I will too. It's just frustrating because to us and to a lot of people, he just looks like and kind of is the better player.
5.4 yards per carry on the season.
I know. It's the same conversation we've had. It's just I pushed him up the ranks and I was happy to do it. On the other side, though, he does. We've talked about the boom or bust element to his game, and it's more given that Ramondre Stevenson has more snaps every game since his return. You saw 31%, 60, 67%. So Henderson, I'm gonna just have hope because he led the team in rushing attempts in 2 out of the 3 games that we just talked about with Ramondre Stevenson's return. So I'm going to say go hard at him because we want to manifest that. So what could go wrong? It's going to be great for Travion Henderson this week. Famous last words.
Ravens have allowed one 100-yard rushing game this year. You'll never guess who it is.
I'll never get who.
David Montgomery.
What?
Yeah. He had 12 for 151 in the same game. Gibbs had 22 for 67.
Jameer Gibbs did. No, I would have never guessed that.
Yeah, but their run defense, though, has really picked it up lately. So, but yeah, I mean, again, Henderson is he can do it on one play. I mean, they held a chance of 67 rushing yards in week 9 on 14 carries.
Yep. I just want him to get it done. Another big week from Travion Henderson, please. Again, that was the Go Hard or Go Home segment here presented by Mike's Hard Lemonade because we always like to see the guys that go hard for our fantasy leagues and not the ones that are sending us home. None of those guys are going to send us home this week. It's going to be totally fine. We're going to continue on, though. I've got more just matchup-based questions to go through with you, Adam, and more questions over there on X. We're going to break it down here coming up next. Fantasy football is life, and this is Fantasy Life right here. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you on this Friday. Not time yet to leave work, Adam, but we're getting really close.
I was just about to leave.
27 minutes. That's what you have to do.
I thought I could go.
I'm sorry. You need to take a nap today. That's what you need to do.
I think I do, yeah.
This guy didn't go to sleep, people, till 4 a.m. You need to seek help. A lot of help.
I know.
Go to a study. Go to a sleep study. I don't know.
Yeah, but what are they going to study if I don't fall asleep? They're going to be like, yo, what's
Exactly.
wrong
They're
with this
trying to try
guy?
to figure out what's wrong. That's what they do, right? You have to get something done there.
Okay. We'll
That
work
game
on it.
probably didn't help. You were probably just living, like riding that high, right?
Yeah,
That's what it
even though I'm not
was.
a fan of either team, but yeah, when you watch a game like that, like the
Great game.
adrenaline flows, I know there's probably a lot of people, especially on the East Coast, that went to bed right away. Not me. Like that just gets me fired up.
I went to bed right away. I'll tell you
I'm
that.
not. We're actually surprised that you made it through overtime.
I know the tweets that I got yesterday. You guys are so funny. They're like, if Kendall's awake for this is going to be fantastic for her. I said, I'm awake. I replied. I said, I'm here. Great game, and hopefully more great games on the schedule for Week 16 here, Adam. I wanted to go just through a few more games that we have not broken down yet. Starting with just expectations for Baker Mayfield. I know that we've gotten a couple of Mecca Egbuka questions, but Mike Evans in his return last Thursday was, I mean, he did great with the snaps that he had. He actually only had 31 snaps, but he had a team high 12 targets, 132 yards, and 6 catches against Atlanta. So that was a big game for him. I don't know if some people I think were surprised. Some people didn't want to start him right away. Others were comfortable starting him. But how much do you have to downgrade now? I say everyone else. It's really been Egbuka. Like, how confident are you in starting Egbuka this week going up against Carolina?
Clearly not as confident. I do have him in multiple leagues where I'm alive, and I'm starting them. Again, they are deeper formats. One, I just have been hammered with injuries, and the other one, the waiver wire is closed, so I can't even go get someone. So I'm just rolling with them. He could have had a bigger day last week if Baker
Yes.
Mayfield could hit him on that key third down play late in the game. But that's been the story with these two, is that they are just not on the same page as they were earlier in the year, whether it's an Egbuka drop or Baker Mayfield not giving him catchable passes. So, yeah, look, I think you downgrade him. He's still someone you can start. He's probably more in the wide receiver 3 range. But again, I also think, having Evans back will at least open up a little bit of lesser coverage on Egbuka.
Yeah.
But Evans is clearly the number one in this passing game and the guy that Baker Mayfield is going to look for consistently, and especially in the red zone. And they've also said that Jalen McMillan's role will increase. But yeah, Egbuka was like a season low, and routes ran, and
Yeah, it was.
and his snaps were down. So yeah, it's
He's been
definitely a concern.
He's been held under 10.5 fantasy points, 8 of the last 9 games.
Don't remind me.
Yeah, I've got him everywhere as well. So it's been disappointing. Definitely not a lineup lock, depending on what your other options are. I will say, too, the Panthers on the other side, they've been solid against receivers this season. They've only allowed 10 touchdowns and the 11th fewest fantasy points to the position. And these are must-win games for both because Carolina doesn't want to win when they're favored, especially against the Saints. We've learned that.
Yeah, whenever Carolina is favored, it's no good. They are
Don't
not
go
favored
for
this
it.
week, so you can feel a little bit better about them.
Only a little bit, though. That's what we're saying here. How much are you upgrading one Michael Carter? We've got a ton of questions on him as well this week because Bam Knight was out and is out for the remainder of the season. So we kind of got to look at what this could look like last week. Carter was the clear future back, 50 snaps, 14 carries, 4 targets ahead of DeMercado. I will say, Adam, not enough to put DeMercado in the flex, but I do think he gets a little bit more work this week. It's just something that I feel, but I will say Michael Carter is a really solid flex option if you've especially been hit by the injury bugs to your running backs here. Maybe more of a committee approach, but Carter is the safest of the two, or maybe even 3 if they get someone else out there, especially up against this Atlanta Falcons defense. Like they've allowed 3 running backs only to reach 16 fantasy points this season, actually, when you look at them. But I'm still okay with putting Michael Carter in the flex.
Yeah, with Carter, it's all based on volume. We know on the ground it's not going to be great. It's got to be in the passing game. So you're hoping he can catch 4 or 5, 6 passes as they either play from behind or it's a back and forth game. Arizona continues to just figure out ways offensively to put the ball in the air 40 plus times a game. Yeah, and I don't know what to take away from last week because Carter played, close to 80% of the snaps. DeMercado 11%, in his first game back since week 14. He was dealing with the high ankle injury. So, yeah, there could be more DeMarcado this week. That's the only fear I have. If you're like, oh, yeah, it's Michael Carter based on what he did last week. You could see DeMarcado more involved, but they have been reluctant to give DeMarcado like that big workload.
Yeah.
And they have done it with Carter going back to last year. So, yeah, I think Carter is the preferred option. And, I'll be starting him in the league this week. And
there you go.
Fingers crossed.
I mean, it could be worse, right? You could go with Audric Estime.
Yeah, I guess. Or you could start both.
You could. I think some people might have to start Estime, and you just have to hope that based on the matchup and maybe the role that he just gets a ton of work and he gets it done for you there. Let me just say this too. The Arizona receiver problem. If Marvin Harrison Jr. is back, just quickly here, will you still be willing to start Michael Wilson in your lineups? Not saying that people have both, just saying that if we do see him come back, has Michael Wilson done enough?
I think that's one of the biggest questions of the week, because the last time we saw Harrison play, Wilson only had 7 targets, and I think it was 3 for 36.
Yeah, it was not good.
But how do you bench this guy with the way he's played? And if you do think this is a high-scoring game, so yeah, you're definitely lowering expectations. I still think it's difficult to bench him. Again, who are you playing over him? Like, we talk about it every week about these receivers. Like, once we get past, like, I don't know, even 12 at this point, like, you get into a range where they all have question marks. So I'd probably still start Michael Wilson.
I would too, more based on the matchup, because the Arizona receivers, I'm going to upgrade everyone. This Atlanta defense has allowed the most fantasy points to receivers over its past 8 games. So because of that, I think if it was someone else, if it was a different team, I might say, yeah, you have to look to bench Michael Wilson because of what we saw when Marvin Harrison Jr. returned. But I like the matchup, and he's been hot. Even though we haven't really seen games with both of those guys together very often towards the end of this year, he's definitely someone you can still look to start. We're going to keep going here. Our favorite flex plays and the final questions that we see coming in for week 16. We're going to hit that coming up next. This is Fantasy Life, and what a great day we have had so far. Hopefully a great start to everyone's Fridays, a great start to week 16 with that Seahawks game. Do you think, okay, here's the question, Adam. I'm going to Disneyland because the Seahawks won. Happiest place on earth. That's where you have to be. Do I wear a Seahawks jersey down there? That's the question.
Yes.
I've got Tyler Lockett throwback.
You don't have anybody currently on the team?
I've got a couple. You know what I need to get though? JSN. I feel like
Yeah,
JSN,
you do.
It's time. Well, because I tend to not like getting rookies when they come in. I'm like, okay, I want to wait for a second, but yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't get it right after we interviewed him at Radio Row last year.
I know. I'm surprised too. I did have a Witherspoon, so I already had that one ready to go. So I think I have to break out the Tyler Lockett. You think I'll get booed at Disneyland?
No.
You think? Could you imagine just like booing me down the road? Just some Rams fans.
Could be, yeah.
I mean, that's all I gotta say. So if you see me at Disneyland today in a Tyler Lockett jersey, yeah, that's me there. But anyways, our favorite flex plays for the week, Adam, and honestly, a good slate of games. Hopefully, again, we were, I don't want to say spoiled. Everyone deserved it, but we had a great week 15 when it came to fantasy points. So we've got 2 games tomorrow night: Eagles, Commanders, Packers, Bears, or tomorrow afternoon at night, whatever you want to say. And then some good ones along the way. But do you have a favorite flex play that you like this week? Let me just throw this one out to you, because I saw 2 questions come in today about one, Tony Pollard. Are we there with Tony Pollard right now where we could say, yeah, go ahead and flex him? He's heating up. I don't know if you shouldn't be considering it a little bit going up against Kansas City.
That's like, where has this been all year? Because I'm trying to remember. Did it?
Would have been lovely to have.
I think I only drafted Pollard in best ball, but I did like him. Because remember, Spears was injured to begin the year, right? Yeah, we don't really talk Tennessee or pay attention, but yeah, he was on. I think he was on IR to open the year. Spears, yeah. So yeah, I upgraded Pollard and felt good about him, and it just hasn't worked out. But yeah, the last 2 weeks have been 100-yard games. Now, one was against San Francisco, and the other was against the Browns, who have not been as good on the run defensively. They were, really good against the run, and they've kind of fallen off a little bit. Pollard's had his 2 best games lately.
You might want to.
I don't know. Kansas City's tough against the run.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't feel great about it.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to throw that
You
one
like
out
him?
to you. No, not necessarily.
Oh.
But he is someone, if you're in a desperate spot, if you need a flex and he's been on your, if he's been on your bench or you started him last week, because I can't imagine many people started him against Cleveland. But then if they looked at that, they said, okay, I want to get back in on this with Tony Pollard, 25 carries, 14 the last 2 weeks. So maybe they look at him in this one and say, I'm going to try it again. 80 Mitchell, no, or yes. Flex play with Brady Cook in there.
I'm going to say yes, actually, because we saw Cook get the football to him last week. And, it's always risky because he can drop a pass. The offense could stink, but I am starting him in a league. But I do that's the league where I have 5 guys potentially out this week.
So a lot of injuries.
Yeah, but Mitchell has shown the ability and he can make big plays. So yeah, I think he's in the conversation this week. I think you could flex him.
He led the team in targets in 4 of the last 5 weeks, and he's flashed some big playability too that we might be talking about later down the line here. But he could be one. So I want to write him up, see what you like about him. But again, this should be a great week of games here, Adam. So I want to know, Packers, Bears, who are you going to take in that one?
I think I'm going to take the Bears.
I am too.
I am a little worried with the receiver injuries, but I think I'm going to take the Bears here.
Yeah, I like that one. Jaguars, Broncos. Who are you going with?
I want to say Jacksonville, but
that would be crazy.
I'm not there yet. I'm going to go Denver.
All right. That would be a fun one though. Should I ask you about Buccaneers, Panthers? Are we there yet? You want to take the Bucs or no?
I don't trust the Bucs right now. Like
they're
unraveling, and those comments, and I'm a little worried about them. Yeah, but I can't pull full faith in Carolina either.
So where are you gonna go?
If I would take the 3 if it's a spread with Carolina. I would do that.
All right. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us. Go home. Especially Seahawks fans, don't even go to work. It's totally fine. You're celebrating a win. Appreciate everyone. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.